which is fine. I think we've had plenty long enough games. As we kick off into the second semi-final, this is the WardiTV Team Liquid Map Contest Tournament. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, then do consider hitting the like and subscribe buttons. Helps us out a whole bunch. And let us know in the comments which of the maps you've been enjoying in this tournament, or which of the maps you like from this series. As we kick off into Moondance. In the top left, our red Zerg player from TvZ Gaming. This is Solar. Taking on the blue Terran in the bottom right-hand corner from the Shopify Rebellion. This is ByuN. Well, a fresh series in the semis then. We just came out of a cool PvP between Classic and Max Packs. Means the winner of this series will now face off against Classic in the Grand Finals. So that is guaranteed, that is known. And so it's this series and the winner versus Classic coming up today still. As we make our way through these final few games. These maps have been great, and look at this. ByuN is immediately going to take the backwards base. What I imagine this means is potentially he takes a third CC almost just in location. That would be my best guess as to what he does on the setup here. I don't know. I feel like if you're going to take a base as a Terran, you already have this base just open to you. Maybe he just likes it because it's CC first and then it's hidden away from Solo, so it's a little bit of the mind game factor more than anything. That's actually not a bad idea, right? You know, you look at this, you see it's a CC first, or you don't know what it is right away, you hide the barracks as well, so it makes it really look like a proxy. Then you actually have the expansion in the back, so I imagine that is the mind game that's actually going on here. I imagine that is actually how this is designed. And if that's how it's designed, then it's actually really cool, and I like it a lot, so yeah. It's very cool, to be fair. Good stuff as we get set up, and I mean, Solar's Overlord doesn't even go that far forward, so he doesn't see it. He doesn't get fooled by the potential mind game or anything because he just isn't close enough to scout. So he doesn't scout for it. That's a little bit of a shame on ByuN's part, but not the end of the world, right? This is still just going to be ByuN getting away with the CC first opening. Going to make a bunch of Marines now off these initial 2 racks, and we'll have a good Marine count early in the game to apply pressure with. I mean, you do see double gas from him here, so now he can go into the... sorry, he actually had a 3rd racks in the back as well, my apologies. So he built a 3rd racks just in the back. That means he's got 3 racks of Marine production, so he's going to have a lot of pressure he can apply. And that's going to be a pretty big deal in this. That's actually going to be kind of crazy. And now he takes, like I say, the gases, so he can set up into the other tech and everything else. So, again, all of that underway. So far, I kind of like it. I must admit. We're just going to pop out a few more SCVs in the bottom right corner, and the link speed still building up here as well. So still just bringing that through. Stim pack on the way. No surprise, we continue to just ramp up the Marine production. Well, Solar has to figure out exactly what's going on, of course. When you look at his vision, he's seen nothing other than the fact there's a Marine at the front. So very much so playing blindly to start out with, and that's, like I say, something he'll need to try and fix a little bit, right? Playing completely blind here is going to be kind of bad for him. As we'll see, the depot's coming up, creating the wall already. Again, ByuN not ready to take a 3rd base just yet, but is setting up to make sure he's walled in on all 3 bases once he gets there. Solar obviously ignores the natural kind of pocket expand. Just says, yep, well, you know, I'm a Zerg, so I'll just defend my normal bases. I'll maybe take that one on the back. It could be one of those bases you can take kind of maybe when you would usually take a macro hatchery. And it's obviously it can act as a macro hatchery while also covering a base, so you'll essentially go to 5 bases a lot sooner than usual. Usually you wouldn't do that because it would stretch you out too much on the map, but in this case it's just going to be like holding 4 bases, so he could probably put his macro hatch, well, what would usually be a macro hatch, back over there and play from there. So Moondan's definitely, once again, given us, at the very least, an interesting start, an interesting beginning. That's going to be seeing a few queens in the top left-hand side hanging out, and Solar's going to get his Overlord killed off there. I think he's question marking as to why it's not high ground or so. That's pretty bad because he's a little supply block coming out of that, so that's unfortunate. As ByuN moves onto the map with all of these, yeah, Crank's going to translate for us and ask how you can see. And ByuN just says it wasn't in the right position. It's one of those little annoyances that you don't realize so much, but some doodads with high ground are very specific about the exact location of where you put them, so important to kind of be careful about those things. We do see pushing forwards here. This group of Marines trying to move up this ramp. Well, we'll not get very far for the moment, and looks as though that will just be it for now, and will be held off down and away. Just going to see our +1 attack upgrade still coming through. The medevac reduction continuing. When medevacs are out, I do believe this becomes a lot more powerful. This potential continued push forward. So I'm looking forward to that at the very least. Things in Bane set up in the center, and just going to be seeing the rest of these Marines moving through the middle as well. So they continue across the map. Away they go. Still just keeping this pressure up. Now, the Banelings have not got Baneling speed or anything, so he's going into those melee upgrades. Feels like Solo is not super prepared right away to maybe deal with this push. I mean, this is scary. Yeah, you've got Banes, but they don't have Bane speed. ByuN's going to have +1 attack soon, so you'll have a bit of an upgrade lead as well. So a couple of factors across the board. And start to press on through. A scan to get rid of a little bit of crew spread. And like I say, he's already backed up by a siege tank over here. So this really feels fantastic for ByuN. I mean, he's in a really good little space to start out with. And let's see what he can do. Let's see how well he can continue to push. Puts that tank in another nice corner. Look at that. Great usage of the map. As these Marines load back up, the lanes coming in for the flank, though, will now cause ByuN to have to back away, and he'll just have to save whatever he can here. He'll leave with more or less full medevacs. Wasn't quite completely full, but okay. Not bad, though. I think it's a good trade for ByuN to start out with. I mean, you look at the numbers, and you see that he's traded 700 resources better off early game, or 650. Yeah, I mean, it's a very good value to start out with, if nothing else. Marines and tanks still coming through, so working their way up that left-hand side. They are going to take position here, and a couple tanks are setting up already. Once again, just loves this spot. That tank in the corner is actually insane. Like, that corner tank, wow. I mean, I don't think anyone thought of that before now, and ByuN just going to really shove it in there and just say, yep, there's not much that's going to kill him. Solo is about to get his 1-1 upgrades. This will give him an upgrade lead, because ByuN only had one initial engineering bay. Was very focused on creating aggression, and because of that, that creates the setup where you kind of give up an engineering bay initially to hit a little bit harder, a little bit faster, but not be as powerful as the game progresses on. These Marines pulling back, letting the tanks do the work on the Banelings. At some point, we should probably split here, though, ByuN, is the last couple of Banes. I mean, at some point, you maybe could have started target fire as well. This turns out okay for him overall, and is going to be able to do just fine in clearing up. I mean, ByuN again just maintaining a lot of units, and 5.2 to 2.8k lost is now a 2.4k resource loss difference, and that sort of resource loss difference so early in the game, just not where you want to be as Solo. You want to be in a much better position than that usually, so this is becoming a little bit problematic for him here as Marines and tanks will continue on in. They continue to set up, and this lane bane is still coming through the top side as well. Tanks, Marines firing up a storm, and just going to be seeing the rest of the lane Banes still coming through here as well. More Marines in the center of the map wanting to stem up, and these Banes continue to roll forward. Getting picked away at those are starting to die. Alright, I mean, ByuN just continuing forwards. I mean, there's just more Banes he will lift up, and as Hydra's come out, he's going to have to be a little bit careful. He's got a tank on the low ground, man. For the tank on the low ground, he's going to be able to get rid of the couple final Banelings that moved forward there. He's able to deal with those pretty aptly. And now just going to be seeing him once again get up the ramp for a moment, then deciding just to fall back and continue along with everything else here. Queen's going to get chased down as Marines come stemming through. Both those Queens drop. Other Queen's in trouble as we just see the Baneling goes down. The Queen's still taking a lot of damage, and I mean, as drones started pulling, it kind of tells you the story here, right? Banelings are just not finishing in time. A few of them finish now. Can they connect? Well, actually, yes, a couple of them do connect, but it's just still not going to be enough overall. That, my friends, is ByuN winning out a convincing game on Moondance. It just started in his favor and never stopped. Oh, she walked off in sadness. Alright, bottom right side. Down one map is going to be our red Zerg player from Kaiser Gaming. It is Solar. Was absolutely non-stop in that game number 1. The Shopify Rebellion Terran in the top left is ByuN here for map number 2. Spiked sound hurt your ears. Yep, I will not answer this again. There's a sound that I can't fix. I'm aware of it. Thank you for pointing it out, but I'm sorry, I just can't do anything about it. It's happening a lot lately. I still have no answer on how to fix it. Alright, well, map number 2 is going to start with a another CC first here, so another little bit of an interesting setup from ByuN. Just going to keep going CC first. Last game I understood for the mine game. This game maybe just likes the map for it, just maybe feels like it works well. I don't hate it. I just, it's not every day you see a command center first in the first place, right? So it's a little bit different. A little bit funky. As we do continue along. Overlord still heading to the top left-hand side. The map is just going to be seeing the CC setting up on the natural. And just going to be seeing our couple of queens still continuing through as well. So all of this just being brought up into play at the moment, getting that ready, getting this rolling. And our Overlord will continue around to the upper left-hand side. CC will finish on the natural expansion and just going to be having a couple of orbitals morphing. So Solar will know that this is a CC first based off of that timing, so he's very aware of the timing here. He'll know what's going on in that regard. Let's see what else he can do. Just seeing that link speed still coming up. And obviously just a couple of things going to walk in. I mean, there's a Marine here to fight. That's the only thing that is here, and it will get one link for free. It didn't try to do much there, just kind of ran, attempted to run on in, and that was about it, right? So, nothing overly exciting initially. Queen setting up, just going to be seeing our link speed still coming through. And Cosmic Sapphire has that gold base in the bottom corner. We've not really seen a game get to the point where that gold's come into play, and honestly, I'd be kind of surprised if that came true here. But maybe we can hope a little bit, right? Maybe we can believe that that's a possibility. One lane moves up, takes the watchtower. Just gonna be seeing these other few Marines pulling out over the left-hand side. Overlord already taking some damage, and he's going to say that's not high ground either. So, yeah, oh, it does get up to the high ground there, so that's high ground. So it does keep the Overlord alive in the end. And that's, yeah, that's a nice little catch, because, ooh, another Overlord going down early. And thought he could get the Overlord. Could not. Alright. Yeah, still having some troubles figuring out high ground and low ground doodads at the moment. Obviously not hiding his overlords away as much as he maybe should be. Solar says this map's also good for Terran. Everyone has been saying all the maps have been good for Terran. But actually, mostly just Solar. Solar's the only person that really commented on the maps in the in lobbies or anything in this event so far, I would say. But as always, the Terrans deny it, and they disagree. And they think the Zergs are just crazy, and they think the Zergs just need to learn to play the maps. So, I mean, that back and forth will go on forever if you let it. Let's continue on that watchtower then, and sorry, the watchtower on the rocks. That actually opens up a lot of space on this map as well. Kill off these rocks obviously stops the Terran player from maybe getting a siege up behind them as well, right towards your bases. It also gives a much more direct attack path as well. I mean, that might boost the Terran, but if you got creep there, it shouldn't matter too much. Well, obviously, if you can open up that the set of rocks on the other side of the map, you would be able to create yourself an opportunity where you can maybe say, cool, if these rocks open on the other side of the map, I'm actually going to be able to have more run-by potential. I'm going to have more directions my units can dive into your bases from, so could potentially be a factor. You wish they would put in some Wings of Liberty maps, or the layouts are the same now. Have you ever seen Legacy of the Void played on Wings of Liberty maps? You should go watch the Alimo League that happened a little while ago. We played on old maps. I think it was last month's Alimo League. It's fair to say that every single one of the old maps that used to be great was absolutely horrendous and provided absolutely terrible games. The thing is that the old maps just do not, they're not suited for the current metas and the current, you know, the changes that were made in the game, right? Maps have adapted to make the most of, you know, the game changing and, you know, units changing and patches. Old maps really don't fit in with the current patch and all the rest of it. But if you want to go see the old maps, we literally casted an old map tournament with the Lima League recently. That's the one that Classic played Rogue in the finals of, and that finals was actually really good as well, so worth checking out perhaps. That's going to be seeing our 2-2 upgrades coming in here from ByuN. There's been a few skirmishes here and there out on the map, but that's about it so far. Medevac's looking to try and boost on in. A couple of Widow Mines will burrow up, and again, just kind of working around the corner there. Oh, that Widow Mine got burrowed. Like I say, it was kind of a disgusting little corner that we worked into there, and that's kind of crazy. That Widow Mine actually getting a massive shot off, and Solo going to take a lot of lost supply from that, so that hurts. That hurts big time. More Marines just unloading out over the right-hand side. The rest of the Marines and the mines continuing forward here, and just going to be seeing the Medevacs continuing through. Loading back into the center once again. Another Widow Mine shot too going off. The Ling's taking a bit of damage, and going to be seeing ByuN keeping up the pressure here. Solo has a good amount of creep out in front of his bases, though, and with the creep out like that, he should be pretty okay, right, to continue dealing with the pressure in this game. Like, there shouldn't ever be a point where ByuN can just push across straight up into, you know, Solo's face and on top of his bases immediately. Apart from maybe the right side base, which doesn't have as much creep in front of it right now, just because it's a bit further out. It's the freshest base out there. So Solo just trying to defend his creep as best he can and play around that. ByuN is still setting up in the center. We'll load up all of his medevacs and move around the left now. So going to go for a huge change in direction right there. Such a mega change of direction off over to the other side, and that's going to be seeing this Bioforce pressing forward to try and deal with it. The Lings and the Banes are going to start pushing in, and they're going to go for this army. Another Widow Mine shot goes off and deals a good bit of damage. The Bane's still moving in. I mean, massive counterattack, but ByuN is going to do okay himself. The question is, are the bases that ByuN is killing as important as the bases which he is losing? That's a difficult question to answer, in all honesty, as the Banes over here will find a few more units, and that's a lot of Banes still left over. I mean, both players have lost a similar amount of supply, but ByuN just has nothing to defend his natural, so if he loses everything in the natural now, he's in trouble. Whereas Solar is starting to seemingly get units up to defend back at home. 31 SCVs down, and this, I think, is where the overall supplies are going to just favor Solar a little bit. I mean, it's not done yet. These few units going to burrow up. These mines can connect. ByuN's still trying to make something happen with his drops across the map. He has an army supply lead. He's obviously just lacking in workers, though, so he needs to really just keep going with his army right now. And it's possible. It's got potential simply for the fact that You know, obviously, the army right now is able to jump around into medevacs and move around and have fun times. Not sure if it's going to be enough, though. Infestation pit starts from Solar. 40 workers in the lead. ByuN has to go, go, go. Oh, Widow Mines, though, like I say. If Widow Mines connect like that, there's always going to be hope. There's always going to be a chance. So yeah, don't count ByuN out if Widow Mines are still on the map. Because connections like that will make a world of difference in any engagement. More Lings running through, these few Marines fighting. I'm just going to be coming back along as the Lings will continue to drop down. Some Marines going to chew through most of those and just going to be seeing the Bioforce right along the left-hand side there, so away they go. Ling Bane going to continue over. I'm just going to be seeing our Bio units going to start pressing out the front once again here. Hive is on the way up. I'm just going to be seeing that joined by a hatchery. I mean, ByuN just has to keep on going. He just has no time to chill. You just got to keep on committing, believing you can get across here, make this happen. You really don't have much more of an option, as we do see Widow Mine drop attempt, but only 3 workers going down, so Solo defending well where he needs to. Just doing good enough across the board at the moment. Yeah, I mean, he's just going to keep on attacking as well, and as ByuN loses even more SCVs, I mean, that's economy he really cannot afford to be losing. The Bane's connecting in, a few of these Marauders trying to tank, but it will not be enough, and Solar is going to take map 2, tying us up 1-1. In the bottom right-hand corner from the Shopify Rebellion, our red Terran player, not quite getting the momentum behind him that time around. It is going to be ByuN, bottom right-hand side. As they load into the game, it's Solar laughs, as in the top left, our blue Zerg player from KyZ Gaming is Solar, apparently finding it funny as they load in game. Not sure exactly why or what, but maybe Crank will translate for us. These guys have been very chatty with each other. They have been talking almost non-stop. Oh, really? Telling me to win versus Terran on this map? Yeah, I mean, seems like Solar agrees with you guys as well. But like I say, the only person I've heard complain about the maps for any race is Solar. I haven't heard anyone else complain about the other maps, and so I feel like Solar's lost a bit of his credibility because of that, guys. If everyone else was complaining, being like, oh yeah, this map sucks, oh that map's bad, it's only Solar, you know? ByuN says Zerg's also good on this map, do you want to bet? And Solar says, please stop hating Zerg. Wow. These guys having some fun, which is always nice to see as well, of course. We like it when the players have some fun and they get chatty and show a bit of personality, and I'm sure you guys like it in the chat as well, right? It was a bit nice to have something a bit different. Thanks for the subs to Solar, as ByuN I guess agreeing to bet a sub on the map. Alright, well these two just coming along and hatch gas pool, a Reaper opening from ByuN, so a bit different from ByuN. Obviously no CC first this time around, actually going to Reaper expand, so that's already a difference from what we've been seeing from him in the previous games, so that's one thing for us to think about from the start. You see there's SCV, he was kind of checking around, trying to see what's up, a few Lings come in, a couple of Queens building up as well. Starts to fight against the Lings. Solar's going to make 6 of them as well, just try and make sure he doesn't take too much damage from the Reaper. Just would rather play cautiously. A lot of Zergs are doing this nowadays, just saying, I'll just make the 2 extra Lings instead of trying to defend with 4. Defend with 6, make sure the Reaper doesn't do anything, and obviously then it's less to worry about at the cost of 1 drone early. So yeah, we're seeing a lot more of that, and it was already popular. I know someone was casting Dark, and he made 6 drones. Someone in chat pointed out, Dark loves doing this, and it does feel like a lot of the Korean Zergs are doing it a lot of the time now. So why is this map bad for Zerg? Well, I mean, basically, there's no real good way to flank, right? You know, there's very well-defined pathways that have pretty much wall-offs on either side of them, so you can't really surround armies. So the Terran should just be able to slow push forward, and the Zerg attack is going to be very one-dimensional, and that typically is very good for the Terran, who'll be able to take good positions and just work from there, and, you know, work from that sort of position in general. So that's why the maps have been decided to not be all that, well, this map, because like we said, we talked about this in chat earlier, and even the middle of the map is, it's still like choked up, so you can't even really get across, or stop your opponent from getting across if you're the Zerg player. So yeah, I don't disagree. I think this map actually probably is a little bit Terran favored. We'll see if Solo can prove us wrong. I mean, he doesn't want to prove us wrong, but obviously he wants to try and win the game. Isn't the middle just one big area? No, because it's this is high ground. Then you've got this ramp. So this area here is like, what can you do? If the Terran moves up here, you can kind of come bottom, but you've got to loop around and then top as well. So maybe I still feel like the Terran can play in a choke, but then why push there as the Terran? All of the bases, apart from this one, on this like ledge up here, right? So why not just go and play the ledges instead of in the middle of the map? So I actually think the middle of the map ain't so bad as well, but it's definitely the one place that's better for Zerg, but that doesn't matter if the Terrans then just avoid that area, which I think is very likely to be the case. Hellions and a Reaper join together in the center, and just going to be seeing a couple of extra factories coming up. Wow, ByuN's going to play mech! Well, it's not every day you see ByuN playing mech, just straight up, and then I wonder if he's doing this to try... I don't even know. Let's see, I mean, some mech should be able to push through even better through these kind of high... those ledge kind of... those ledgy avenues, the high ground, the low ground, the top and the bottom of the map. Okay, Hellion drop initially is going to get turned around as Zerglings are well positioned, so Solo will not be caught off guard by that to start out with. Hellion's coming through, the Queen's coming along as well. I'm just going to be seeing... Oh, whatever's happening down there, isn't he? Graphics is not so pretty, but it's the sort of thing that gets fixed in QA once the map goes through an extra phase or so. Something that even this tournament can help people, or the map makers, find out about and fix. That's probably just a weird doodad interacting with the creep. Well, getting rid of some of the creep spread. I mean, Solo's playing Ling Bane. I don't think Solo's realized that it's mech yet, right? Because it's so uncommon that ByuN would play mech. You know? Why would ByuN play mech? He's a bio guy. So that alone might just throw Solo off here. And if Solo doesn't realize it soon and he plays Ling Bane into this, that's going to be pretty much worst case scenario. Playing Ling Bane into mech is... You know, for a while, playing Ling Bane Muto against mech was kind of the style. And when I say for a while, I mean like for a couple of months while it was the hot, fresh new thing to do. Terrans figured it out. Once Terrans figured it out, we never really saw it again because, I mean, we see it sometimes. People like DRG do it a lot, but it's the kind of thing that really isn't meant to really be that good, right? Unless this is going to be this big Hellion push coming through. No roaches on the map. Banelings will morph in to try and do something here. Try and create some sort of a defense. When counterattack is good, going to get 7 SCVs. That's the kind of thing that does slow the Terran down a lot. Now these Hellions all morphing into Hellbats while clumped up. Gives you the chance to run in with those Banelings and get some connections. And, well, ByuN is going to get pushed back. Solo has to use up a lot of units to be able to do this, though, because, again, he was doing this off of a less than ideal composition, to say the least. Well, Cyclones continue to push in, and we're actually going to get up this ramp and on top of these morphing Hellbats before they're ready to go. If ByuN can get rid of all these Banelings, that's going to be absolutely massive. These Hellbats coming through, get on top, the Banes are gone, and oh, that might actually be a winning push then from ByuN, because now how are you ever going to properly clean this up? It's going to be very, very tough. Ling's counterattacking in, SCV's taking a whole bunch more damage. Hellbats still coming across towards these Queens, and continuing to chip their way through this as we just have the Hellbats continue in for the other Queens as well. You see the Hellbat's going to go into the Roach Roar now. Well, that will stop Roach speed coming up at least. And further Roaches for a little while, so maybe give yourself a bit more opportunity there. Well, that's the Cyclone still sitting on top. This is finally going to get cleaned up, as Scylla will finally stabilize. And how about dropping the main base? I mean, Scylla stabilizes, but it's not exactly pretty. He's only got 4 queens. He's going to lose a few more drones here still. And obviously losing mining time is not exactly something he wants to be doing right now either. So a few things that are not exactly going great for Scylla, but I mean, ByuN's also just rallying through the center of the map and continuing to set up over here. Again, a lot done. As he just locks onto this hatchery, continues to put the pressure onto it. Baneling speed is coming up now as well, so getting that Bane speed up and running. All the Cyclones pulling back down the bottom right side is ByuN. We'll have some tank production coming through now also. Obviously, Roach Run is back up, so we're moving to Roach Ravager. The Baneling speed is still coming in. Crank will continue to translate to us. Thank you to Crank for taking time out of his cast to type us and show us what's going on from the players, show us what they're discussing. And Cyclones still coming through. These couple of Banes still wandering forward, and Roaches still taking some damage as well. Back and forth continues here. Ling Roach, Ravager, Bane continuing through for the moment, and just going to be seeing our key Banes on this bottom side going to wander forward and go for these SCVs. They continue to try and escape on out of here as well. Doing what they can. As we have the Cyclone still set up on the bottom, and at this point, this game really settles down into a game, I think, which can really go any which way. This definitely felt like it was all about ByuN before. He was putting on the pressure, Solo wasn't ready, but now not so much. 1-1 in this best of 5 semi-final of the Team Liquid Map Contest Tournament, and ByuN meching it up. Now that's come through. That's going to be seeing the Cyclones locking on. The hatchery still taking a little bit of additional damage as well. Bling's coming for a wrap around. Cyclone's still in some trouble there, and just going to be seeing the fight continuing. I mean, this is going to be Solo just continuing to push across. I mean, this is a rush map, so once you start moving, you get across to the other side very quickly. And now I feel like ByuN, he has this ledge for the tanks. I mean, that's kind of disgusting. How are you ever meant to break that ledge with the tanks on it? Yeah, I actually don't know. I think that's actually pretty insane. He's going to come forward. He's going to try and corrosive bile it down, but even then you're losing a lot of Ravagers because the tanks in the back are getting shots off as well, because you have to come so far forward to get those biles off. I mean, the tanks are placed well from ByuN. They're placed exactly how they need to be to make the most out of this, but I do think that might be one position that's a little bit too powerful. Well, up 40 supply, but if you can't break through, then ByuN's army will continue to improve once again, as the mech army so often does. Tanks on the bottom side continue to get set up. A little bit of Roach Bane Ravager trying to come through too. Pressing forward, the couple of Hellions here just trying their best to escape away. Solo's army going to come straight through the center now. ByuN's going to take the 3 o'clock base, so that's going to be his choice of where he thinks is going to be the easiest base to hold on to. He gets a couple of Hellions running by up the top side as well. Here comes Solo. I mean, this base, probably the most open base on the map. I think I would have liked ByuN just continue down at the south side. Maybe that does open up his natural ramp just to being, run up against, and maybe that's a problem, but I feel like that would have been a better option than this base, because, I mean, you can just see it here that this base doesn't feel holdable against the Roach Ravager. Solo's got a big advantage, and as 16 SCVs went down, he continues through. He takes down a couple more tanks, and it looks as though he's going to be good to just push through for the victory. And the map you can't win on. Well, ByuN says, I play mech, and away we go. Solo takes a 2-1 lead for him in this best of 5. Maps. Thanks so much. Reminder that this is your last day to vote on the maps if you're watching this live on Twitch and on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, it's too far gone. I'm sorry, it's too late. But if you're live here on Twitch, then you can still vote on these maps. Exclamation mark maps in the chat will give you the command you need to go on over to that and to check it out and to give these maps your vote. Vote for your favorite. See who can win the map contest. I actually do not have a clue who's going to win. So yeah, go check that out. In the top left-hand corner, it is going to be our blue Zerg player Solar taking on the bottom right red Terran from the Shopify Rebellion. This is ByuN. Who made these maps? These maps are made by all sorts of different map makers. A lot of them are making maps for the first time. Some of them are making maps for a very long time. Most of them at this stage have been making maps for a very long time. But there was one map maker who made Aftermath, who said it was only his second attempt of making a map. So yeah, no, these maps are just made by the map making community. That's where maps have come from for a very long time. A lot of people don't realize this. A lot of people seem to think that Blizzard have been making the maps for the last 5 years. Blizzard, I don't think has made a StarCraft 2 map that made it to the ladder or anything, or any sort of competition for... I don't know exactly, but I want to say like at least the last 8 years. I don't think since... At least since... Definitely not since Wings of Liberty, right? Like... So yeah, it's a common misconception. So often I see people see the map contest and like, oh my god, it's so nice that we're finally taking the maps out of Blizzard's hands. And it's like, guys, hate to spoil your hate on Blizzard parade, but we kind of haven't. This is kind of just how it's been done for like a long time, you know. So yeah, just a little info for y'all. Singularity is the one with the steel balls. That's the one. Forever I will remember this map, no matter what, as the map with the spinning balls. So, sorry, Singularity. You've been singularity'd out. Yeah, they're kind of cool. They make a good decoration. It just sounds funny. Who actually thinks that? Oh, a lot of people do, man. Loads of people genuinely think this. Even though this is just the 8th tournament I've run, this is 16th overall Team Liquid map contest. And I'm pretty sure, like, maybe the first 1 or 2 weren't directly linked to going on ladder. I'm not 100% sure, but, like, you know, since then they have been. Yeah, people just don't know. I mean, to be fair, like, not everyone is as involved in the streams and the community as we are and stuff, right? So, it's not necessarily easy to know about this stuff, but, you'd be surprised about what people don't know in StarCraft. You know, a lot of people watch StarCraft, they don't know a lot about it, outside of, hey, I like to watch this game, you know? These guys are having a bit of fun. Apparently, Sol asked if the Reaper couldn't jump, and says no, he couldn't. So he sent it over, and then it jumped up. Or is Reaper a special? Okay. Sorry, I was reading chat. I didn't see the exact interaction that just went down. I apologize. What do you think of the back base on Moondance? I think it's fine. Honestly, like, I think it's nice to see something like... I like the pocket expansions. I feel like it's time to bring them back in a little bit. I don't think we should have, like, a natural expansion that is, like, straight up, like, super easy to take, and you can just take the natural for free. I mean, I like it being, like, only one gas, so it limits your options if you do take it. I don't know. I feel like it's just a nice bit of variety, and maybe if it goes on the ladder and I see a whole bunch of it, I'm like... I start getting to the point again where I'm like, oh, no, I don't like this again. I think it's alright to mix up. I actually prefer Stargazers. I think Stargazers is better because it limits you from taking it, and I feel like it's a bit more exposed, so you can take it a bit more easily. You can take it a bit more difficultly, and it's not as easy to hold on to. It's a bit more open to air harass. So yeah, maybe I prefer it. I like the concept of seeing some pocket expansions early in the game again, but maybe I just like it done a bit better with how Stargazers did it, that's all. But like I say, I don't hate it at all. I honestly, I don't think I'd be upset if any of these maps made ladder. And I think that's the first time I've really said that at TRMC. There's like a couple I don't like as much, and I just think there's some stronger candidates maybe, but I think for the first time ever, we've really just had a set of maps where there's not really been one map which is just super weird or crazy or anything like that, so yeah. I mean, I think back to some of the maps we used to get. We had a map once called Arch of Janus. Well, these guys, they spawned literally... you could see both their main bases on the same screen. And I don't know why people didn't veto that map. I don't know how I ever got people to play it. There was talks at one point of doing like $1,000 Arch of Janus only tournaments. I remember it was such a meme that we... Basically, you basically started in the bottom left corner with 4 bases. And if you mined out your main, you could go to the rest of the map, which had like a bunch of other bases on it. I remember we were memeing around after the tournament. We did an AI game. So, like, AI versus AI. And the AIs tried to float a command center out over the minerals, but it was blocked, and no one else had tried to do that. I was like, oh my god, the AIs are doing things the humans haven't done. So smart, man. It was scary. Made me realize the robots are getting pretty good. He's coming through a little bit, see what's going on. He's going to see a few of these Banes coming in. This little push of ByuN is going to get shut down, and Solar is going to defend out over here. And Bane will continue through as ByuN rallies out again. Now he is now building up a 3rd CC, so he's pretty aggressive off the 3 racks here initially. A very aggressive start from our Red Terran. Obviously, with it being held off, this might put him into a little bit of trouble. He's again going to fall behind on upgrades because you can see, you'll be able to see here that Solar is going to get into a spot where he's just going to have a little bit Solar's just going to have a little bit more to play with. He's going to have those upgrades coming through. He's going to have all these bases up and online. And still doesn't have his 3rd up and running. This is a nice trade, though. ByuN going to be able to take a little bit of a fight here and trading effectively. But the tanks are going to get jumped on, and Solar's going to clean those out. And uh-oh, ByuN might be falling into a whole bunch more trouble right now. He really might be. Definitely becoming fairly problematic. Well, ByuN's going to try and keep on being crazy. He's going to load up and he's going to drop through the top side. So let's continue to just defend well in this game. But this might be an opportunity perhaps, right? Get into a position. Maybe you can make something happen here. It gives you a chance at the very least, if nothing else. I mean, he unloads, he sieges, and then he's going to go again. Yeah. Well, I'm just going to be seeing the Liberator siege up. He gets down to the low ground. I mean, this is kind of the plays you need from ByuN if you want to do something in a game. You're trailing in. I kind of like that he's being a little bit wild and crazy about it. Let's see how it continues. Let's see if it's enough for him as we set up. Just going to be seeing, again, a few drones already going down. And it does kind of feel like we're maybe not making as much progress there as we'd like to see. Let's continue through. Gonna grab a siege tank. And now just gonna come across the map. I don't like this fight. With the Bane showing up, I like it a little bit more, but the Lings were here so far ahead of everything else. Those Marines will go down, but they traded kind of bad to start out with, honestly. Yeah, they traded horribly to start out with, in fact, and it turned around towards the end a little bit more. Jeez, that was a little bit brutal. 13 SCVs down. Let's see what ByuN can do across the map. He's still sieging up with these libs and being aggressive, trying to find positions to work into, and doing his absolute best to get damage done. Just going to be seeing these Marines still coming through. These couple of Banes get targeted down as well, so that's also going to help a lot. 6 drones being killed off, and just going to be having a hatchery setting down low on HP. That's the problem. He's getting a lot of things low, and he's making progress, but he's not actually getting guaranteed kills or anything going right. And ByuN kind of needs to, at some stage here, just really get a win on the board, right? Like, get a full-on win, doesn't take any counter damage while it's happening. Like, he really needs that, and he's just not finding it just yet, so a little bit rough as we do have the drop up over here, going to be forced to lift up again. Solo seems to be all over him. Solo looking to make this a ZVP final against Classic in the TLMC number 8 by WardiTV. TLMC tournament number 8. This also lost is favoring ByuN. It's just his economy's never been great from some of the counter damage and so on. He has slowed down the solar economy a bit though. Just taking the income advantage away, forcing some lost mining time, and obviously getting some more bases of his own setup has been making this a little bit better for him. So that's something at least as these three Marines moving up. Hydras are there to push the medevacs back around. I'm just going to be seeing the Lingbane Hydra going to go onto a set of rocks, trying to pick through that. ByuN at this point is just sort of cleaning out a bit of creep and trying to see what else he might be able to do. Starting a bit more of a push. Tanks are coming. He's about to have +2 attack. It's going to even up the upgrades, so I've just been waiting on that for it to even out, and nice that we'll finally get that. ByuN just on siege. Solo's going to get a jump on this army, but he is going to be moving through from one direction off creep. I mean, that's not typically the kind of fight you should be taking as a Zerg, so a little reason to be cautious. And so he will be. Back it up. The Marines and the tanks still coming back around the right-hand side. Setting up and moving on forwards. Just going to be moving straight on in. Here come the Lings and the Banes continuing into this. Just going to be having everything continuing to chase down this army of ByuN. Solo feels like he's getting more and more confident every single fight. Just continuing through for a bit longer, getting some extra cleanups. Going to try and fight his way into this 4th base as we speak. He's in this sort of situation where Singularity is a bit of a larger map, right? And when Solo just has creep in front